Welcome back to Burning River Bushcraft. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Gibson Pinch by ESEE. So if this is the kind of thing you'd like to see, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment in the comment box, and ring the bell to be notified of my latest videos. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook at Burning River Bushcraft. I also teach outdoor classes at outdoorcore.com. I just released the course on Outdoorcore on packing the ultimate pocket survival tin. So I had to gather up quite a few factory options as well as custom options. And one of the knives I picked up for this class was the ESEE Pinch by James Gibson. So the ESEE Pinch came in its own Altoid size tin, and it has Randall Adventure Camp logo on it. So this is pretty cool looking. This is not something that you want to make char in. This is something I would pack a cool tin in, and I would definitely not throw this thing in the fire. And if you look inside, this is the exact same dimensions as the Altoid tins. And the Gibson fits in here at just a little bit of an angle. One of my favorite features about the Pinch is you don't have to worry about it falling out of the tin. There's actually a magnet on the back of the sheath itself. So that sticks to anything, that sticks to the lid, that sticks to the base of it. That's a pretty cool feature to have on a knife like this. I've got a nice lanyard loop on here, and this is oversized, so I can put paracord around this. Getting it out of here, when I first got it, I just tried to pull it out, and it's not really designed for that. It actually rocks out of here. So the knife rocks out of the sheath, and it's actually held in place by the same magnet that holds the entire assembly to the tin. So to reinsert this, you have to put the edge in the sheath first and rock it up. And once the magnet holds it, it's on there for good. So I know what you're thinking. Who cares about the sheath and the tin if the knife is not worth it? And this is a pretty cool knife. So this is 1095, so it's high carbon steel. It's designed for probably like a 2.5 finger grip, and it's got a large indentation right here instead of jimping, so you can support the back of the blade when you're making strong cuts. So the exact specs would be found on the ESEE webpage, but this is about 2 fingers long in blade length, so I would put that right at 2 inches to just under 2 inches. And I do like the fact that the handle is longer than the blade. There's no sense in stretching this blade out longer, and then I've only got one little edge to hold on to. So I can get a pretty decent sized grip, even with a large hand, on this little knife. So if you look at the blade shape, this is kind of like a Warncliffe style blade, which is kind of unique for a survival knife, especially a small survival knife like this. And you can see the spine. This is a very, very thick, robust knife. Not overly thick, but you're not going to have to worry about breaking this thing. So the Warncliffe blade is one of my preferred blades for carving. The negative to a blade like this, and this blade style, is you don't really have a belly to the blade, so there's no sweep. So you certainly could skin game, small game with this, or fillet fish, or anything else with it, but you're going to struggle a little bit compared to a more upswept blade design. So because this is an ESEE knife, you can make the assumption that the thing came sharp from the factory, and it did. So it cuts through this wax jute with almost zero effort. So if you wanted to test this against another type of cordage that's pretty common, this is just a Hanka number 36 bank line, and it just pops through it. I mean, there's zero resistance. This knife is razor sharp and ready to go. So I am going to baton this knife into this probably 2-inch piece of tulip poplar. So the knife is actually smaller than the wood itself. So even though this is big, this is a soft wood, and this is bone dry, and you can see it's checked already. So it really shouldn't be that much of an issue. And yes, I know there are other ways to baton through wood like this. I could have cut a wedge and drive it in just as simple, but I'm checking the knife, not a wooden wedge. Here we go. All set. So actually the hardest part about that was just not hitting your hand. So is there anything I don't like about the Gibson Pinch by ESEE? Probably the number one thing would be the fact that it does not have a 90-degree spine. And I believe that has something to do with the coating process. Any survival knife should have a 90-degree spine to let you take material off a ferro rod. So this doesn't have one. So in a pinch, no pun intended since the knife's called a pinch, but in a pinch, I could use my blade and that's gonna work, but I'm losing some of this edge. So this is a 1/2-inch ferro rod, so I'm taking about a 1/2-inch edge off of this blade. So I think I would just do a quick modification. You can do that as well. I would just hit it with a file and you'd be good to go anytime you need to strike a ferro rod. So the last negative to the ESEE is when I design a small personal survival tin knife, this knife is about the same size. So this fits in an Altoid tin as well. I show you how to do this on my channel. I actually wrapped this, made this hafted handle on my Outdoorcore course. So this is actually held in place by pins. So you can rock this all you want to, you can baton it, and you've got a full-size handle and the knife's not going anywhere. I 100% would haft the handle on this. And even though it doesn't have perfectly round holes, I would put a pin here and I would put a small pin there. So I would just carry cut pieces of nail in my kit. It wouldn't be that hard for ESEE to have a couple designated holes and then include pins. Just small sharpened end pins that would stick to the magnet. I could split the handle just like this, use the tip to hollow out the hole slightly for the pins, press it in, haft it, and then this knife would have a full-size grip on it and it would be a lot more comfortable to use, either if you were batoning or just in a longer carving session. So if you're in the market for a pocket survival tin knife, this ESEE is a winner, no doubt about it. I love the tin, I love the sheath. The Warncliffe blade design is pretty unique. It's bull strong. If you need a knife like this and have an empty tin and don't quite know what to put in it, check out my course on Outdoorcore. I'll put a link in the description below. Till next time, this has been Jamie Boggs with Burning River Bushcraft. See you soon.